Hey guys, um, I'm gonna ease back into this work thing. Thank you all for your kind wishes about my son and all that stuff, but I gotta get my head somewhere else basically right now, and I do need to work. So this is going to be for private road members and Patreon members. Thank you for your giving me the time that I've had so far, and I'll start trickling out things. Obviously, everything's going on and it's crazy out there, but I haven't haven't been able to do any kind of serious thinking or research. But I need to do that. I need to get my head out of the dark place it's been. So I'm gonna. I'll talk about my son later. Right now, I'm just going to talk about where we are on the repos. It, it was good. I spent a good 3 hours trying to figure out what the hell happened in the last 8, 9 days. Um, and it's basically they're setting up for something big, is what I can tell. I posted on the private road and on Patreon the latest repo graph, which puts us at still about $300 billion on the overnights, 296 billion, which is below my projections. I thought they had to do something big, and it is coming. And I'll show you where the clues are. They had talked about briefly short intraday uh, loans, which would count towards the total. But they ended up doing these things called small value exercises, which are really small, 100 million or something. Yeah, as if 100 million is small. Small repo things and just a couple of them. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's not the big one I expected, but there was this, which is a statement from the Fed, statement regarding public comment on proposed publication of SOFR averages and the SOFR index. And what this is, as far as I can tell, they are changing the rules on how the interest rates are calculated. They are changing the rules because they can't control the interest rates with pumping money in. They're going to change the rules so the interest rate automatically cannot go up based on a calculation. So you go to this. This is on the Fed New York website called Statement Requesting Public Comment on a proposed publication as SOFR averages and SOFR index. And you look at how they're going to do this, and it is just insane what they're doing. They're changing all the metrics so that they don't get the 10% spikes anymore. They're going to smooth it out and average everything. So they throw in all these ridiculous equations because they can't handle the truth of telling people what the real interest rate is. So what does that tell me? They expect some huge spikes in overnight interest rates that they're not going to tell people about. That's the whole idea. And look how they're doing it. Look how they're calculating the index. It's just insane. I mean, talking about throwing a huge, complicated monkey wrench into a simple calculation. This is ridiculous. So they're asking for comment. What does that tell me? There's going to be huge, massive spikes, and they want to cover it up. As a matter of fact, this article at aren'tfox.com says it. The end of LIBOR, SOFR volatility and LIBOR transition update. Let's see. The following is based upon the Fixed Income Market Structure Advisory Committee panel meeting held on Monday, November 5th, entitled LIBOR Transition Update and SOFQR Volatility and Related Statement. And this is what they have to say. And listen to it, because what they're doing is trying to hide future spikes in the interest rates. Hide it, literally. Since the spike in the secured overnight funding rate in mid-September, SOFR has remained stable. A prime factor in maintaining stability was steps taken by the New York Fed, as directed by the Federal Reserve, to actively increase the supply of reserves in the banking system, from, among other things, the sale of treasuries to banks through repurchase agreements or repos. As reported at the meeting, the New York Fed recently infused approximately $220 billion into the banking system, $70 billion in overnight repos, and $150 billion in term repos. The New York Fed has recently authorized, at least through January 2020, the sale of at least $120 billion of overnight repos and $45 billion of general biweekly sales from term repos. It is contemplated that the Treasury bill purchases of $60 billion per month will replace over time the newly instituted repo operations. These recent operations have boosted the supply of reserves and helped mitigate the risk of money market pressures adversely impacting monetary policy. We note that the foregoing operations and Treasury bill purchases have not occurred to this extent since the end of the recent financial crisis. And it talks about the averages. The New York Fed, in cooperation with the Treasury Financial Resources, are proposing to publish 3 compound average indices of so far 30, 90, and 180 days. It is expected that these long-term average so far indices will smooth out any temporary aberrations in so far due to, for example, month-end, quarterly end, and year-end liquidity needs. They know the system's blowing sky high. They cannot report that. They cannot have another headlines that the overnight rate went to 10%. So what are they doing? They're screwing with the mechanism that calculates it, just like they do with the CPI. They say there's no inflation except all our prices of everything we eat, drink, and sleep in is going up. How do they do that? They do quarterly adjustments. They do seasonal adjustments. They recalculate and rebalance portfolios, putting more emphasis on computers and other things that devalue over time and less influence on the things we need, like food. It is insane what this is basically accounting gimmickry. But what does it tell us? It tells us that they expect hyper volatility on the interest rate side. They expect liquidity to dry up by the end of the year. And how are they going to fix that? They're going to, one, hide what's really happening, but two, they're going to have to pump a hell of a lot more. That's my take. That was my take of 3 or 4 hours worth of work trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the repo market. And it is absolutely stalled right now, and that's not a place. They're going to either have to implement that policy change of how they calculate what interest rates really are, or they're going to have to pump money, and I think they're going to be doing both. So keep an eye on it. As far as everything else, I have no idea what's going on in the world. Okay. I'm glad I got through this. I wasn't sure if I was gonna, but I want to thank everybody. I am going to end the very giveaway soon. I haven't looked at it. It was over $20. And I was like, well, should I end it? Should I not? And my mind's just not in anything right now, but it will be. I will be back better, faster, stronger. I swear to you. But if you want to get the very, please hit subscribe today and renew your subscription, or join if you're on the Patreon channel. Join the private road and get all the information. That's what I got for you guys. Again, thank you so much for the thousands of emails and comments of sympathy and love for me and Amy and my family. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll do more of these very soon, but this is going to be a short one. All right, you guys take care.